presently a volatile place, and no one needed to remind Admiral Morgan of that, but the man in the Oval Office was prone to appoint yes-men to influential positions. And now, in the final 2 years of his presidency, he tended to think only of himself and his image and popularity. Without Admiral Morgan's granite wall of reality and judgment in the crucible of international military affairs, the men in Admiral Dunmore's house that day were greatly concerned that a terrible and costly mistake might occur. Looking back, Arnold Morgan could not remember precisely who had put into words the hitherto unspoken observation that the president was a goddamned flake and getting worse, but he remembered a lot of nodding and no laughter. And he remembered their host, Admiral Dunmore, turning to his old friend, the senator from Massachusetts, and saying, "The trouble is he's interested in military matters, and we cannot trust him. Talk to Arnold, Teddy. You'll say it better than anyone else." He had, too. And at the conclusion of a short but moving few words from the silver-tongued sage of Hyannisport, Admiral Morgan had nodded and said curtly, "My resignation is withdrawn." And now he was back at the factory, and he was ruminating on the general calm that had existed in the world's known trouble spots for the past month. The Middle East was for the moment serene. Terrorists in general seemed still to be on their Christmas break. India and Pakistan had temporarily ceased to threaten each other, and China, the big tiger, had been very quiet since last fall. Indeed, according to the satellite photographs, they were not even conducting fleet exercises near Taiwan, which made for a change. As for their new Xia-3, there was no sign of the submarine leaving its jetty in Shanghai. The only halfway interesting piece of intelligence to come Admiral Morgan's way since Christmas was a report put together by the CIA's Russian desk. According to one of their field operators in Moscow, the Rosva-Oruzhenia factory on the outskirts of the city was suddenly making large quantities of moored mines. This was regarded as unusual since Rosva-Oruzhenia's known expertise was in the production of seabed mines, the MDM series, particularly the lethal 1 3/4-ton ship-killing MDM-6, which can be laid through the torpedo tubes of a submarine. Rosva-Oruzhenia was now, apparently, making a lot of updated, custom-made PLT-3 mines, moored one-tonners, which can be laid either through torpedo tubes or from surface ships. The CIA had no information about where the mines were going, if anywhere, but their men had been certain this was a very unusual development. Most Russian-made mines these days were strictly for export. Admiral Morgan growled to himself. Now who the hell wants a damn large shipment of moored PLT-3s, eh? He chewed on the roast beef and pondered silently. He didn't much like it. If the goddamned penniless Russians are building several hundred expensive mines, someone's ordered 'em. And if someone's ordered 'em, they plan to lay 'em, right? Otherwise they wouldn't have ordered 'em. Where? That's what we want to know. Who's planning a nice little surprise minefield? He finished his sandwich, sipped his coffee, and frowned. When Kathy came back, he'd have her call Langley and make sure he was kept up to speed on Russian mine production. And if the overheads picked up any large mine shipments leaving any Russian seaports, he wanted to know about that immediately. Just don't want some fucking despot in a turban getting overly ambitious, right? The Admiral glared at the portrait of General MacArthur that hung in his office. "Gotta watch him, Douglas, right? Watch him at all times." Renmin Dahuetang, the Great Hall of the People. Tiananmen Square, Beijing. 0900 local, January 23rd, 2007. The largest government building in the world, home of the National People's Congress, was locked, barred, and bolted this Tuesday morning. All 561,800 square feet of it. Business was cancelled. The public was banned. And there were more armed military guards patrolling the snow-covered western side of the square than anyone had seen since the 1989 massacre of the students. Inside there were more guards patrolling the endless corridors. 16 of them stood motionless, with shouldered arms, in a square surrounding the only elevator that travels down to the brightly lit underground operations room, designated